Okay, dude, we have not talked in a really long time, like for realsies.
Well, we've talked, but we're doing the thing again where we just punt on friendship in the interest of the podcast.
Well, I got a lot of stuff I got to update you on. For starters, right now, in front of me, I got this letter, and the return address says Yellowpee.
Wait, what?
That's the return address. Yellowpee, blah, 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 Salt Lake City, Utah. And I open it up. This is a legit letter to me. And then I remember a tweet that I made a while back. It says, "Hi, this might be easier than cross-stitch, ? Put these in the lower part of the urinal. Let me know what you think. Christopher, Yellowpee.com." No, Christopher at Yellowpee.com. And
what is going on? What? Huh?
Yeah. It's stickers.
So you were tweeting about pee?
Yeah, I was. So at work, we work outside and we sweat a lot. And I tweeted this picture of this thing that said, what color is your urine? Because that tells you how hydrated you are.
Sure. Mine's usually kind of a limed olive green.
Yeah, exactly. And so the goal is to have clear pee. That means you're hydrated. And so it's like a game you can play with yourself if you have the scoreboard right in front of you, right?
Yep.
You know exactly what I'm saying, right?
No, and I love the way you phrased it. Continue talking about the game you play with yourself.
Yeah. All right, so I walk in from being on the range or whatever. I walk straight up to the urinal, and no joke, above every urinal, there is this piece of paper that I printed out about 5 years ago, and everybody looks at it. I know they do. And it's about, how yellow your pee is. Anyway, so I tweeted it the other day, and I said, wouldn't it be cool to have this cross-stitched at your house? I think it's adorable when people have things that are like modern jokes cross-stitched in their house. Have you ever had that?
Yeah, kitties will puke on everything you love. My friend has that adorning his hallway.
Does he really?
Yeah, and it's cross-stitched. Maybe by his mom or a friend. I don't know, but it's lovely.
Isn't that cute?
Yeah, and it's funnier because it's cross-stitched.
Did you say crotch-stitched? No,
I did.
Cross-stitched.
I'm flustered now. Cross-stitched.
So anyway,
that's a hard word now that I think of it.
Christopher at Yellowpee.com sent me stickers that are the pee scale, which I thought that was pretty cool. But see, I don't have internet right now, so I can't see if this is legit. Will you look up Yellowpee.com and see if it's real?
Yes, I will.
Because
Yellowpee.
That's P-E-E. Wow. Is it real?
Yes, it is. Here's a scale right here.
1 through 7?
What color was your pee? 1 through 7. There's a pee scale.
Yeah.
Huh. That's weird. There's no olive.
Actually, if you take certain vitamins, your pee can be purple.
Oh, can I tell you a story?
Please.
My freshman year of college, I had just met this lady I was very interested in. And we did end up getting married eventually, but we're very much in the dating phase. No, we're not even in the dating phase.
So
she's not going to do that.
We're talking about Camilla.
This is Camilla, my wife, and she didn't want to do the dating thing. She wanted to just sit it out for her freshman year. But I really liked her, and I was pretty persistent. I was like, fine, if we got to do the friend thing, we're gonna do the friend thing. Well, we were pretty good pals, and one day somebody played a brilliant joke. They took blue acid indicator and put it in the grape juice in the cafeteria.
What?
And when I filled my grape juice, it was kind of weird and foamy. I thought that looks odd, but it tasted fine. And I knew that Camilla, who had breakfast with me, also had that. Later that day, of course, I go to pee and it's just sky blue. I mean, it's the most beautiful urine. Like, it made you feel like you were in a commercial. And like skipping
all
through
body
a
fluids in
green
commercials
field.
is blue.
Oh, it was just gorgeous pee. And so the first thing I did was I ran to my landline telephone in my dorm room and called my wife, who worked at Blockbuster Video, and she picked up Blockbuster Video. This is Camilla. May I help you? I was like, have you peed? And she didn't recognize my voice because I'd never been that excited in my entire life in the history of our relationship. And I think she was really put off by that. But I convinced her to go pee, and sure enough, she came back and she called me on Blockbuster time. Joke's on you, Blockbuster. Wonder why you're out of business. And then, sure enough, she had blue pee too. That's my pee story.
How do you make your pee blue?
Well, because it's blue acid indicator from the science lab. And so I assume there's some acid in the pee. And
you realize that like dozens of people listen to this podcast, and if you say something wrong and they put it in their body, people are going to get hurt. You do realize that?
Oh, wait. No, I got this.
Yeah.
So obviously I'd really discourage that. See, now it's fine.
Oh, okay, cool. So we have an out. Okay, got it.
I have no idea if that's bad for you. I don't know how blue acid indicator works other than I can tell you this. If you just want to be swept away to a magical fantasy land of bliss, drink a ton of blue acid indicator and then just stare at your pee, and you will go to a place you've never been before and probably get married.
But also
it's very dangerous, so don't do that.
Don't do that at all. That's the worst advice you've ever given.
It will not end with a happy marriage and family like it did for me. Do it.
Okay, so speaking of body fluids, I want to talk to you about something, and it's not really, I don't know. I'm a little embarrassed by it, but you know what's coming. I told you we were going to talk about this. I cried for the first time in 5 years the other day.
Oh, you did. Wait, you didn't tell me it was the first time in 5 years.
Yeah.
What's the matter with your heart?
I know. The last time I cried, my eardrum exploded. We went scuba diving on the Great Barrier Reef.
It wasn't over. Like, you've had kids in that time, man.
Yeah, I have.
And it didn't have that effect on you?
No, you cried when your kids are born?
What kind of human doesn't cry when their kids are born?
Oh, yeah.
Of course you cry when your kids are born.
I was really excited. I didn't cry, though.
Oh,
I did make noises. Like the moment the baby is born, I've always made this, I don't know why, but like, I don't know. When babies are born, I just make a noise. It sounds like this.
No, make the sound.
It's like a weird.
What is that?
I don't know. It's an involuntary noise I make when the kids are born. I mean, I have like statistics because I have so many kids.
Why would a person? Is that your "I'm trying not to let you know that I'm crying" sound?
Maybe. I don't know.
Why wouldn't you want your wife to know that you're
happened
crying when your kids are born? It's carte blanche, man. Like you think about it. I mean, if we all know what number 1 is and we all know what number 2 is, I guess going number 3 is probably crying. And then you think about like numbers 4 through 15, and your wife goes all of those during pregnancy.
Yeah.
Like just at once, one giant fluid explosion, and then later there's a baby. I think you're allowed to pass a little number 3 as the gentleman in the situation. And it seems weird to me that you were trying to hide that.
I don't know, man. Well, who said I'm trying to hide it? I just didn't cry. It's not like I'm trying to suppress it.
But I think
it's just like I'm more in control of my emotions than you are.
Is that the sound? Was I close?
No, that was forced. It's like an exhale that turns into like it's like, I don't know. It's like a little bit of emotion. It's like
yeah, another kid.
I don't know what it is. It's weird. Anyway, so I cried.
What did you cry over?
A movie. Now, look, on an airplane, I cried over a movie on an airplane. It was Hidden Figures.
Okay, I haven't seen it yet.
Okay, I'm just going to talk about it. Can I just not worry about spoiling stuff for you and just kind of talk about it a little bit?
Yeah, it's my wife started telling me about it. We watched it, or she watched it on the flight while I watched something stupid. So yeah, tell me.
You know what's going to happen. Okay, so basically it's these African-American women that are really good at math, and they overcome the odds and they end up doing the important calculations to get men into orbit. Okay? That's the upshot. Okay? But it's the thing that happens, I don't know, throughout the story that made me cry. And I really like rockets, so I was already in the squishy place because they were doing like, you know, the Tsiolkovsky equation. I was looking at the math and I was like, I know that math. I'm really relating right now.
That equation, its name, I'm not even going to try to pronounce. That makes you go.
No, that wasn't it. Okay. There's this thing that happens. I don't know why. When I see a situation when there's two people that aren't supposed to work together, but they do, and they have mutual respect and admiration when they're not supposed to, like everything's telling them they're not supposed to do that. Mm-hmm. When I see them come together and do something great, mm-hmm. I don't know what it is about that, but it really gets me. I cried tears,
How about
man.
That? Okay, so, we're not done with you crying tears, but I don't want to get past that point because like 3 cries ago for me was the day we launched the podcast back in February. And
I know it was a big day, man. It was very emotional.
Cement truck day and barfing blood day, which is going number 17, by the way.
Okay.
We had to go back into the hospital, and 2 different specialists came together to figure out what the deal was with my kiddo. And I kid you not, one was the most obviously Muslim man, and the other was the most obviously Jewish man. And it was these 2 surgeons and my wife and I sitting in a little consultation room, and them explaining what they were about to do and how they were going to fix the situation that was in crisis mode. And it had the same effect on me. I was already crying over the fact that we were in the situation with my kid, who I love, but the same exact thought occurred to me. Like, these people aren't supposed to like each other, but look at this. Like, this is how things could be. And look at them working together to save, well, honestly, my little girl's a Christian. I mean,
Yeah.
wow, this is a cool moment. And they did a great job. And my little girl is fantastic, by the way. And so, yeah.
Congratulations. That's a big deal.
I think you're allowed to whimper over that. Okay, my side aside, please tell me the rest of the thing about the movie.
I don't know, man. I just really, really enjoyed it. And it wasn't, okay, so like when you go to choose that movie, you know what you're getting into, right? Okay, so white guy engineer, trusts these African-American ladies that other people in society say he shouldn't trust, and, they all overcome the odds. You know that's going to happen. And it's like, on the surface, it looks like it's a big movie about race. But it wasn't. It wasn't a movie about race. It was a movie about, like doing what's right on both sides. Like the African American ladies, they overcame not just adversity, but like they overcame things within their own society or their own social structure, and they took risks as well. Does that make sense?
It does. So what was the part that broke you?
I don't know, man. It was things like the time this was a big one for me. When she figured out the existence of the Atlas rocket, and the way she figured it out by saying, oh, well, the Redstone doesn't have the delta V required to get to orbit. Obviously, there's another rocket. And she figured it out. And that was cool because she used her skills. And I think that has something to do with it. Like, it's not just that I like it when people get along. It's like when somebody brings a very specific set of skills to the table. I'll give you an example. I walked in a guy's office today.
Please be the speech from Taken.
The what?
Huh? What? Nothing. Okay. Not the speech from Taken. This is...
No, it's not. No.
Okay.
I have a very specific set of skills. No. So there's this guy that I work with, and, he's raised in the South, country boy, real quiet guy normally, just kind of sticks to himself. He actually wants to live off the grid. But I had this really detailed conversation about a complicated thing we were going to do. And I just walked in his office today, and I was like, hey, man, I just want to talk, and I want you to tell me what you think. And I just told him this really complicated thing I was going to do. And I was like, what do you think? I mean, and he sat there, and he kind of looked down at the ground, and he thought really hard, and he goes, well, have you considered this? And he gave me a completely different angle that I had not considered. And he brought so much to the table just because of his specific set of skills and his life experience that I couldn't see. Anyway, that's what gets me. When I have an opportunity to work on a team of diverse people and they all bring something to the table, it makes me weepy. I don't know why. Not like in the middle of a meeting or anything like that, but
if you put a nice score behind it and shoot it cinematically.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah.
No doubt.
Well, that makes a difference. I don't underestimate that.
Okay, I'm listening.
It's sappy, but that accentuates. I mean, it's like steroids for the emotions. And obviously, the money says we keep signing up for that because we keep going to movies. I mean, we want to feel that. And I think it's fascinating that your last cry, and just for the record, by the way, you mocked me hardcore after I called you coming out of Pete's Dragon with my kids. I was like, Destin, we need to talk for a minute, man. I just didn't know who else to call because I just went to Pete's Dragon with the kids. And just like the parents at the beginning, they die, and it just makes you think about how vulnerable they are and the role that we play in their lives, how important it is. Someday they're gonna have to do this without me. I actually made myself cry. Holy cow!
Did you make yourself cry just now?
I'm weeping. I cleaned
Are
it
you
up.
joking? Are you?
No,
actually
I'm not joking. I have that capacity because acting. No,
Really?
but seriously, that really moved me.
No,
and
no,
there's
no. Are you crying right now? Are there tears?
Yeah, there are tears.
You can do that?
Yes, I can, man.
I
It's an
can't
important
do that.
skill. Yeah, I don't use it very often. That one was an accident. It's a pity I blew it on this.
You just got all weepy. You're like our dog. After Buckshot went and got spayed, she came back and she leaks everywhere. It's like you.
Well, that's different. I mean, man,
Yeah,
that's going
bladder,
number
right? That's
18.
different.
Yeah, so you made fun of me for that. So one, I'm glad we're here finally, because I got off the phone with you and was like, I need new friends. That's the wrong reaction to me crying over Pete's Dragon. Mental note, Sandlin.
It was
now
it
I
was
feel like
cruel.
we're good.
And I do apologize. I don't know how we worked through that, but
We just did. We hadn't until now.
Oh, do you feel better now? Were you holding that?
No, we
Okay.
were in a year-long fight. You just didn't know it.
I didn't know that we were in a fight. No,
now
but
we're
Pete's
fine.
Dragon actually made you cry. So for me, it's when people work together with specific skills, usually technical. Like the more technical the skills, the better. Like in my brain, a fantasy novel would be like, hey, we're in this really weird situation, and the only way we can get out of it is if you solve that equation, and I go over here and I distill this whatever. You know what I mean?
Did you cry during Apollo 13?
No, but I really enjoyed it a lot.
Boy, that James Horner soundtrack and that exact thing, man, that was moving for me. But I just think of this as one big long parenthetical, because that's what I want to speak to. Is even though you made fun of me, we're now on the same page, because I get that the thing that moves you is the thing you're good at. It's the thing you're passionate about bringing people together to do. Well, my last cry was the one coming out of, we had a bunch of tests and follow-up stuff at the hospital and got this just beautiful, clean bill of health for my little girl. And that was an all-day ordeal, and we walked out, and then I just sobbed. But you got to give me that one. I mean, come on, we got
Oh yeah, of course.
this huge weight lifted off of us. It was
That was a months-long deal. That was a big deal. That's no, all joking aside. That's huge. That's a really big deal. And I felt relief for you. You know, you told me we only had time for a really brief conversation, and you told me it's good, and I felt relief the entire day. And then I think I called you back, didn't I?
Oh yeah, we talked about it at length after that. But
Yeah. It's a big deal.
So that one's, I think that one's understandable. But my cry before that, and this is interesting, was on the flight back from Italy. I watched the Martin Scorsese film Silence, about the two Christian Jesuit missionaries who went to Japan and encountered a bunch of really humble, wonderful people, and also encountered authority figures who were threatened by the arrival of Christianity and persecuted missionaries and Christians during this era. And as that got toward the home stretch of that film, and seeing a level of conviction portrayed in these guys that I'm not sure I share. I don't know. I'm not a coward. I've just never been tested. I've never been there. That was staggering for me. And I lost it on the plane flying back from Italy, watching a movie about what I do for a living. So how about that?
This brings up an interesting point, because you know the slow-mo guys, Gavin Free and Dan?
Yeah.
So I was telling Gavin about how I cried on the plane. And I said, this is so weird. It's the first time I've cried in forever. And Tara was making fun of me when we were talking about it. And he said, I think I cry more on planes. I think I'm more emotional on planes. And Tara said, well, maybe it's because you're completely focused. The screen's right in front of you and you're just totally absorbed in the moment. And he said, no, I think it's lack of oxygen.
I think there might be something to that, man. Planes make me weird.
And well, I mean, we know about the hypoxia thing, but do you think that a movie is better on a plane?
No, I think movies are worse on a plane.
Why do you say that?
It's a tiny little screen and you're wedged in with people and you keep changing altitude, and that messes with your insides, and it's distracting and weird. And people always ghost fart on planes, and you don't know who it is, and that takes you out of a movie for like 2 or 3 minutes. And it wasn't me.
Well, we actually had a guy next to us doing that on the last flight. It was bad. Anyway, I think movies are better on planes. I do. Why? Because it's like, hey, this is time that nobody can take from me. I can do whatever I want. I'm going to use it to watch a movie, and I'm going to just totally throw myself into it. I think that's a big deal when you choose to just go all in with it.
Huh.
But I want to get back to Pete's Dragon, though.
Okay.
What was it about Pete's Dragon that made you cry? I get the fact that there's a car wreck at the beginning and the parents die. I get that. But Matt, it's a magical dragon and a little girl likes it.
I cried at the end of Guardians of the Galaxy when the pro wrestler petted the CGI raccoon.
Don't tell me. I haven't watched it yet.
You've watched the first one.
Oh, yeah. It's the first one?
It's the first one. Yeah, you're fine. The pro wrestler, he's petting the CGI raccoon over the dead tree, and I'm crying over that. So I've already got a proclivity for letting it go a little more than you do. And apparently, if the CGI is convincing enough, I don't care. But the thing, no, this is important. If a movie works,
plot-wise, why did you cry on Pete's Dragon?
Because I care about that metaphor. I care about that relationship. The little boy with the big giant friend who's the metaphor for innocence and childhood, like Iron Giant and I don't know, other movies with things like that. They all move me the same way because I kind of miss the little boy, and I kind of picture those moments when I was a little boy where I had to learn about the difficult things about the world, and it's kind of sad and tragic. And I like that those movies are always set in the past. Have you noticed that? That theme of a show is always set in the past so that the viewers will feel a degree of nostalgia and so that you will think of an earlier time as being a more innocent time, whether or not it actually was. So it was powerful that way. I cared about the relationship, and I know it was a big, fuzzy, stupid CGI dragon, and I still cared.
Okay, let me do it this way. I get emotional when I see people of dissimilar backgrounds who are highly capable in whatever skill it is that they've chosen to work on, when they work together and accomplish something great or even something small, just the fact that they're working together. That's why I get emotional. Why do you get emotional?
Nostalgia, a little bit, but the big one is conviction. Conviction really does it for me.
What does that mean? I don't understand what you're saying.
Conviction, the singularity, where someone is pursuing one thing that is good so hard that it eclipses everything else. So I'm still a sucker for Braveheart. I'm still a sucker for Gladiator. Both won Best Picture, by the way. Make fun of them all you want. Both Best Picture winners. I'm a sucker for the Lord of the Rings trilogy. Like, you know, this tiny little hairy-footed dude, like his whole purpose in life is just take this ring to this thing and destroy it.
So you like people that are of a single mindset and they have a goal and they try to accomplish the goal.
I like them to be complex characters who think about a lot of things and are into a lot of things, but they have a calling, a task. They get why it matters, and they're committed to it. That really moves me. And as I've told you before, the other thing that really moves me are tiny little vulnerable girls in action movies and cartoons going really, really fast. Because I picture my daughters and their bravery, and it triggers that daddy, oh, I admire my little girls so much and wish them well, and look at the bravery of this little girl. I cried in Big Hero 6, 9, 12, Big Hero 6, right?
I don't know.
Because there's a scene where like the couple of the little girls, they're going super fast and they're brave and they're not afraid of danger and they're trying to do what's right. And in that very simple way, I picture my little girls being like that.
When they go fast, like physically when they run fast?
Yeah, it's ridiculous. I'm not saying any of this is rational. I'm not even going to try to defend it. But so as soon as they're bravely taking risks and, you know, right on the edge of control to fight back against evil and defend the innocent, that just makes my heart go.
So you're saying that if they just run fast, that's all. Can you watch sprinting?
It's not that there's no music. It's not the same. It's not cinematic. Like with stuff like that, it's like, oh, cool, athleticism, I respect it. But it's like exaggerated comic book momentum and bravery. I did not like the new Wonder Woman film particularly. I didn't not like it either. I felt indifferent, but I really liked the Wonder Woman go out and fight and be brave sequences. The action sequences I found moving.
Speaking of sprinting, have I told you about my new favorite athlete?
I don't think so. Who's your new favorite athlete?
His name is Craig Engels. He's a runner for the University of Mississippi. Have you seen this guy, Ole Miss?
I don't think so. What's the deal?
He has a mullet, an amazing mullet, and he doesn't care about anything other than just beating everybody.
He's good.
Yeah, you know who Prefontaine? If I were to say,
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, it's like that again. It's pretty cool.
It all comes around. Who was your favorite athlete before that guy?
Oh man, I mean, I used to like Cal Ripken Jr. That's interesting. The reason I like Cal Ripken Jr. is because he always played the Iron Man, right?
Yeah, that's right.
He was always at every game. He was consistent. He was the slow, steady drumbeat of truth in the sea of the misguided, which was the Major League. So,
you know what? If we've never discussed that before, but I think if you'd asked me to guess your favorite ball player, I think I would have guessed Cal Ripken for that reason.
Really?
Yeah. You'd never guess mine. I'm going to give you a
Your
try
favorite
anyway.
ball player?
Favorite
Mike
ball player.
Piazza?
Because of that
Because of the
PI
mustache?
No. George Brett. I was like George Brett.
Oh, yeah. Royals, third base. Yeah.
He was my hero growing up. We lived in Kansas City when I was a kid. Dad went to seminary there. And they'd take me to the games when I was just learning to talk. This is back when George Brett was, flirting with batting 400 over the course of a full season. And they do the little organ thing. Da-da-da-da-da-da. And I just thought they were saying George. And so I would just stand up and scream George. And I only knew like 100 words at this point. And I guess everybody thought that was really charming and adorable. But so I liked him from very, very early on. But what I liked about George Brett, and the reason I'm still a fan, is because he played within his means. He didn't try to bulk up and hit 500 home runs and punch his ticket to the Hall of Fame that way. He was a hitter who took what the pitcher gave him and did good things with it. Smart opposite field hitter. That means he could go with the pitch and hit it to left field, whereas normally a left-handed hitter is going to try to pull the ball to right field. So I felt like he was smart and
strategic,
flexible and strategic. Yeah, and I admire it.
Yeah, I could see that in you.
So what's the last movie you cried in before Hidden Figures?
Before Hidden Figures, movie I cried in at the end of Saving Private Ryan when the actor comes over and he's like, "Tell me I lived a good life." You know that part, right?
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, that was potent.
I think I cried there. If I didn't, I should have.
Yes. Well, you can still go get it right. Adam and I went to that movie when I lived in Montana. And we went on opening night. He walked right up to the gal taking the tickets. And he's like, 2 for Saving Ryan's Privates. And the girl was like, that's like the 9th time I've heard that. Well, you will know for future reference, if we're hanging out and I'm finding something moving, but I don't want people to know, you will know because I will make this sound. That one right there. I just inhale, like I breathe through it so that I won't get into the full on tear mode. But when I'm doing that, if I make the mental decision to just let it go, I could go into full-fledged sob fest. And my wife knows. No, I just this quick, like series of little inhales, like, oh, I'm fighting it.
It's so cute.
I'm not going to ball here. I don't know, man. Stuff is moving. Life is moving. It's a neat story. It's an interesting thing.
It's good to feel things, Matt. I don't mean to make fun of you for feeling things. Sometimes I wish I felt more.
I'm just going to freaking cry about stuff, dude. Like, I'm just gonna.
It's not that I don't feel things. It's just that I don't know. I think I can just control my emotions more than you can.
I was expecting you to bring it around to like this really like, hey, we should maybe end this segment. Let me bring it around to kind of something conciliatory. I'll put a little bow on it. Actually, you're awful and out of control of your emotions.
I
And I'm the
just think you
superior
can't control
human.
yourself. Oh, crap. That's good.
Let's do an ad.
This episode of No Dumb Questions is brought to you by 23andMe, which gets its name from the fact that humans have 23 pairs of chromosomes. Right here on my desk within arm's reach is a 23andMe kit. I'm going to open it right now. Open the thing, and then here it is. The way it works is they send you this little tube, and you spit in the tube, and you fill it up to the line, and you send it off, and then they will give you all kinds of information about you, your body. They can tell your ancestry. that can give you specific health information if you choose to get that information. Some people choose not to do that, but it's a really cool service. And even cooler is that my wife just went out to an education summit at 23andMe headquarters. And when she did that, she learned all about the future of genomics and how it's going to change the world around us. And additionally, because I'm working on a video for an upcoming Smarter Everyday episode, I went to the lab. Like, I got to meet the guy that cuts open these tubes. I'm going to put it in the next video, but it's awesome. Anyway, you can get your own kit if you go to 23andme.com/no-dumb-questions. If you use that super secret internet code, that tells them that you're helping us and they'll want to sponsor us in the future. But on top of all that, I really value the fact that I got to do this because I learned a lot about my body, and I did it through, a different name, and you can hide all that personal information if that's something you're into. Anyway, I recommend going to 23andme.com/no-dumb-questions. Get a kit sent to your house. You get to mail it off. I think you're going to enjoy it. That's it. Back to the show. Okay, can I run something by you?
Yeah, that's why we're here.
Okay. You remember one of our first discussions, we talked about The Veldt by Ray Bradbury?
Yeah.
I don't even remember what episode that was, but
that was 005.
And that's children's dependence on technology, or our dependence on technology,
Well, I was
right?
going to say everybody. Yeah.
Okay, so another thing that happened when Gavin and Dan were here is they brought the Nintendo Switch?
I think it's a Switch.
Golly, I sound like an idiot. That's how much I know about this thing. It's the Nintendo Switch, okay?
Okay.
And we played Mario Kart. Have you played this thing yet?
No, I'm avoiding it because I know what's going to happen if I put one in my hands.
Yeah, I know. So this is what I'm thinking.
I really like video games, and I'm really trying to avoid them.
We're coming out there for the Eclipse, right?
Yep.
We're going to bring 3 kids with us. If I were to get the Switch, this is basically what I'm asking my wife to do. Hey, sweetheart, will you please go to Wyoming with me? I'm going to take 3 children, and then we're going to go sit in the middle of literally nowhere, and I'm going to stare at the sun for about 4 hours.
People live here. There are people who live here and do business here and have fun and really rather enjoy it. Like, it's not completely nowhere.
Well, I mean, but
it's the middle of nowhere.
Like where we're going for what I want to do is the middle of nowhere. By the way, I have bonus stuff that I'm going to try to do when I'm out there. So I realized once I started thinking about the totality plane and how it crosses the U.S., I was like, you know what? If I go to Wolfram Alpha and ask it where the ISS is going to be on August 21st, I bet there's going to be some point where the International Space Station is going to transit a partial eclipse.
Is it?
Yes.
What does that mean? Can we see it from Wyoming?
Yes.
You're kidding me.
There are only a few places that this happens. Like, the last time this photograph was taken was in Spain. This guy saw, he did all the math. He got in the exact spot that the International Space Station was going to fly in between him and the sun, and then he recorded it. And it zips across the sun. It is so fast. You can't even understand how fast this is.
How fast is it moving?
It'll transit the entire solar disk in 0.74 seconds.
Really?
That's fast.
Okay, how high up is it from the surface?
Oh gosh, I don't remember. I'm supposed to know. I want to say 20 miles. I don't know that number. I'm embarrassed that I don't.
Well, the reason I'm asking is because I'm trying to think about, like, when I'm up on a mountain, how far out can I see? And at what distance can you see what degree of detail? How big is it?
Well, this is basically a shadow graph. You're seeing the shadow of the International Space Station because it's transiting the solar disk. Long story short.
The shadow or the silhouette?
Silhouette. Yeah, you're
Okay.
right. Silhouette. But the thing is, it's going to happen near you. That's the point.
Well, awesome.
Yeah. So the first thing I did when I figured this out is I contacted Don Pettit and I was like, dude, this is happening. It's going to happen somewhere in America. And he's like, oh yeah. But he said, the thing is, sometimes we have to change our orbit to avoid space debris. So you can't really lock in and know where it's going to be until about a few days out. And so I'm a little nervous because right now the orbital projections has it happening, no joke, between Riverton and Casper.
Seriously?
That's really close to you, right?
What are the odds of that? We're talking about like a whole sun and there's so much space there.
Yeah, but what is the distance between Lander and, about halfway between those two cities?
100 miles.
Wow. So that's within reach.
Yeah, there's only one road to get there, and there's going to be 11 billion people here.
Okay.
So it's not going to be easy, but it's conceivable.
Anyway, that's something I'm thinking about. I'm thinking about it's during the partial eclipse, right? It's not during totality, obviously, because you got to have sun back behind it. But anyway, it's possible to image the International Space Station zipping across a partial eclipse. And we have nice cameras now. Back in 99 or whenever they did it in Spain,
yeah,
the guy did great, but we have really nice cameras now.
But the point is, should you get your kids Nintendo Switches?
Yeah, I'm sorry. Let me get back to that. I'm sorry. Switching back to the Switch. Yeah, anyway, obviously I got excited there. The question is, do I get them Switches? Because I played Mario Kart and it was awesome. And right now they play games. When they do play games, it's on the Apple TV.
What kind of games can you play on the Apple TV?
Basically Disney's version of Frogger. That's pretty much it. And some other things that are great. But, it's one player at a time. They don't interact at all. They're just quietly waiting their turn to be able to play the game. But I think it'd be really fun to have them all play at the same time.
What's gone into your decision to not have them play games to this point?
I want them to play outside.
And just get chiggers?
Yeah.
I've heard they have those in Alabama.
Dude, I'm covered right now. Did you know that?
You mentioned it the other day. You just going up to Walgreens and buying all their clear nail polish?
No. There's like this stuff called Chiggerex and like Chig Be Gone. I don't know.
I know this stuff. Okay, we're coming back to Nintendo Switch, but here's how I know. We don't have chiggers in the north that I'm aware of.
Okay.
And I'd heard the term, but I didn't know anything about it. I'm driving to Branson, Missouri with my dad a few years back, and we're just doing a father-son road trip, and we're on the interstate, and some Yahoo in like a big old Buick on the other side starts weaving around in traffic, and I crack some joke like, look at this idiot. And then we realized, no, there's something wrong there. And next thing we know, he goes through the median, which is one of the big ditch kind of medians, and goes airborne.
I'm just trying to connect the dots on this story and I'm trying to figure out where this chigger was.
It's coming home.
Okay.
And so the guy, like slow motion, is sailing in front of us, like Guy Ritchie style editing, arms locked out, eyes wide open, and we're both kind of mortified. And then the moment really did feel like it slowed down. Well, in the back seat, hanging upside down, are 3 kids.
Oh, no.
Car flies in the air over both of our lanes and lands on its roof right in front of us in our ditch on our right.
That sounds like the intro to Pete's Dragon. You cried immediately, right?
No, I didn't cry immediately. So, obviously we pulled over the car. So did a bunch of other people. People start scrambling up to the car. It's still running. It's upside down, and there's gas all over the place. So I tried to get inside to turn off the ignition, but I just couldn't get around the guy. He's knocked out and squished in there, and I didn't think he would probably make it based on his condition. But the kids, 2 of the 3 are suspended upside down in the back. And so we tried to get in the side windows, but it was all crushed in. But the back window, we could get in. So I kind of pushed away the glass and I shimmied in there, and it was messy, man. But, got the first kid out.
When you say messy, you mean people were injured?
I mean, there was blood.
Oh, man.
Everywhere, man. Dude. And so then I unbuckled the other 2 kids, and by then people were coming and they were trying to smash the windows. But we just still couldn't get around to the ignition. So I shimmied in on my back and got all the way to the front and reached up and turned off the ignition. And while I'm up there, the guy comes to. Whoa. Oh, okay. And people start showing up, and ambulance was there really fast. And, then the professionals take over and everybody's fine. Long story short, sounds like everybody survived. Somebody was nice enough to let us know how that all played out. And, I'm on like adrenaline blitz after that, just not totally thinking straight.
Yeah.
We get back in the car and they asked us all to just please go. It makes sense. So we get back in the car. I'm like, I'm messy, Dad. Let's pull off at this gas station.
Did they get your name and stuff?
Yeah. They took my name and number. I asked them if they'd please call, and they were nice enough to call. So we stop at this gas station, and I walk in with my change of clothes, and everybody in there is staring at me real funny. And I go back to the bathroom. I shut the door. And I look at myself in the mirror, and I look like a psycho murderer, man. I'm just coated in blood. So I just wadded up all of my clothes and threw them away.
Wow.
And then sponge bathed real good in the bathroom and got all the blood off, got back in the car. We went on to Branson and we went and saw one of the Spider-Man movies. And we're about halfway through the Spider-Man movie. I'm like, this movie's messing with me, man. It's like, it's got spiders on my mind. I feel the spiders on me. I'm like, Dad, I feel like I'm being bit by spiders. And he kind of laughed. And I'm like, no, I'm not messing. Like, it's really starting to hurt. And so I bolted out of there at the end of the movie. I'm like, Dad, we got to go back to the hotel. Something's wrong. And he said, I bet you've got chiggers, son. I don't know what that is. So we pull into Walgreens. He's like, I'll get some medicine. He goes in and gets some medicine. We go back to the hotel room. And I didn't look at the bottle. By this point, I'm hurting so bad. To be clear,
we're talking about your privates, right?
We're talking exclusively about my privates.
The gonadulars. Got it.
And so I'm like, Dad, just give me the medicine. And so I unscrew the top and I just slather it on. I'm like, oh, that has a cooling effect. Oh, whoa, Dad. And I just start screaming in the hotel room. It's the worst pain I've ever felt. I'm like, it's on fire. Everything's on fire. Give me ice. And I went over and it had one of those little like window AC units that sits right below the window. And I cranked it to cold. I'm naked.
I don't understand what was hurting.
The medicine is not supposed to go directly to... it's not medicine for that. There's a different kind of medicine. So I'm using the wrong medicine.
Did your dad get you like muriatic acid or something?
I don't know what he got. I was in panic mode and I made some poor decisions as a younger gentleman after bravely rescuing children. So I think I get a pass. So I'm sitting on this thing. I crank the AC and I'm just trying to ice my undercarriage back into salvageability. Dad's bringing in ice and I'm just packing on all this ice. Finally, I'm like, run a cold bath. And so then we filled a bathtub with ice and I go and sit in there and finally the pain subsided. And sure enough, it was chiggers. I treated it with the wrong thing in the wrong place. It took me about a month and then finally it started to get better. That was the single most pain I have ever experienced in my life. Thanks, chiggers.
And so did that make you feel like we should get the Switch or not get the Switch?
The point is, I'd get it, man. Like, in light of that, I'd get two. What are we doing?
I don't know what we're doing, but it's kind of fun.
Yeah, I'm having a great time.
How did we get on that? I don't know. Whatever.
Because chiggers, and there's somebody will map it. Someone will map it for us and tell us how we got there. So when the kids played, go ahead.
When I did play Nintendo Switch with Gavin and Dan, they're sitting there and they're like, well, have you ever played this? I was like, no. And they said, well, it's pretty cool. And they had two of them. Gavin had one, Dan had the other. And I said, well, there's three of us, but two of these things, can we all play? And he's like, yeah. And he went, and he like ninja swiped it. And then all of a sudden.
That's not the sound it made. It's not the sound it made.
You're right. I'm lying.
Could you please do the sound it made?
That was.
That's the sound things make when they transform.
You're absolutely correct.
I'm surprised you didn't know that.
Yeah. And so we started playing like old school Mario Kart. Me and Gavin were on a split screen on the little Switch, and Dan was over there in the recliner playing, and it was really fun.
So is it a new? It's not a new version specific to the Switch. It's the old good ones.
No, but what I think was cool about it is that I'm imagining all these scenarios where my happy sons are over on one console, and me and my happy daughter were on the other ones, and I'm bad at grammar, but you know what I'm trying to say.
So you're picturing like a board game cover, but your family is on the board game cover.
Yeah.
Where everyone's playing like Ants in My Pants and they're having literally the best time in the history of their family.
Exactly. That's exactly what I'm picturing. And I know that I know that's me buying into the marketing. So, we're joking about this, but what do you think about your kids playing video games? Because I feel like this is a pretty big decision because of the Velt. scenario that we talked about in episode 5. I'm scared that I'm going to let my kids have something. You know, obviously we're going to have to set up boundaries on it, but I'm afraid of getting something and then losing a little bit of my kids to that thing. Do you have in the Whitman house, do you have a policy set up?
Yeah, we do. We have an Xbox One and a couple of kid accounts on there, and I get lots of fun little kid games, and they like to play them, but they know if I ever found them playing that without them having permission, they'd lose a lot of privileges. That would be a breach of trust. They just would not do that. And we've set those boundaries up for a long time. Same thing with, picking up mine or Camilla's phones and goofing around. They know that's off limits except for special occasions and something we use as a reward in really limited doses. But I'll tell you this, even with all of the boundaries, what video games will do to a kid, and I know this because this is what they did to me as a kid, is they will take a place in a kid's heart. They will become the thing the kid thinks about when their mind is free to wander where it wants to wander. And that's the part that I wonder about with our decision to let the kids play games at all. They think about it a ton.
Right now, my daughter's asking, like, when can we go back to the bookstore to get, the rest of the Nancy Drew series? That's beautiful. That's a beautiful thing.
Yes, it is. And I'll tell you this, we're still in that place. If we go to Fort Collins, which is the big city for us, we drive 5 hours down to Fort Fun and we get some Freddy's and some McDonald's and we go to the Barnes and Noble. But they love the Barnes and Noble part of that trip. They ask every time, they go and explore the books and get ideas for what series of books they want to read next. They're still into it, so they haven't lost that sense of wonder.
I'm scared. I am. I'm scared about it, but I still think I want to do it.
It can be a Pandora's box, but here's the thing that I like the most about the kids playing video games. There are two things. They all like Minecraft, and they really like showing me the things that they invent. I made this house. I made this church. I made this school. I made this town. I made this building that holds all kinds of different, kinds of my favorite animals. It's not, I 360 no-scoped some noobs and look at this replay of brains splattering everywhere, Dad. I mean, it's creative, innocent art. And it gives them a platform and a unique set of paintbrushes to make cool art. And I like that. The other thing that I like are the games that tell good stories and that have puzzles and questions and that broaden their thinking, because video games are a valid way to tell a good story. I don't think they're all good stories, but it's a medium like any other medium, and it can be abused, I suppose, like any other medium. But I love it when they come to me and they're unwrapping the present of a story that's well told for the first time, even if it is in video game form.
Yeah, Zelda seems like it would fall into that category.
I've heard that game's amazing for the Switch.
I have too, but I've also heard that the world map on it is just huge, meaning you can get lost in that thing.
It is bad for kids, yeah. Have you played Skyrim?
No, I haven't.
Man, that game is cool.
Is that where you take an arrow to the knee?
Yeah.
Is that the correct me? Yeah.
Yeah, so it culturally leaked a little bit for you.
Yeah,
it's cool.
I spend a lot of time on Reddit.
Okay, so you can't miss that. Yeah, sure. But landscape-wise, it's like where I live in winter, except there are dragons, and I don't even know how the game works. I just run around and collect things and look at pretty stuff, and then tap my wife. I'm like, hey, look at this pretty thing. Oh, look, I'm standing on a mountain now. Look how pretty it is. so I dig stuff like that too, but it has a pretty good story, I'm told.
So Portal is one that I really want my son to get involved in because he has a mechanical mind.
Yeah.
And, I've explained it to him, and he's, my brother has let him play a little bit. And he really enjoyed it. But I remember playing Portal, and it really stretched my imagination and my understanding of physics. Even if you just change one little rule, everything changes. So I thought Portal was
those are the kind
cool.
of games that I like, where you've got a whole bunch of variables, and there's a lot of different ways to crack that nut. You almost have to invent your own parameters for solving these complex problems. And you can't just copy what other people did. Well, you can, but it's lame. But there's so many options that you can do it yourself.
Okay.
And yeah, Portal's a game like that.
Let me ask the question a different way. So,
okay,
if we come, well, we are coming to Lander to visit you guys, and I assume our kids are going to like meet and stuff. Would it be weird if my kids brought that along? Now, I'm not envisioning that they would spend a lot of time playing video games together, but let me just tell you why I'm asking this question. When I was young, my dad took me on a trip. It was a rafting trip with another man and his son. And I remember that boy, I walked in his room and he had all kinds of things. I mean, he had, the Nintendo Power Pad?
Yeah.
He had that.
Wait, you mean the Power Pad, like the one that you run on, like for track and field?
Yeah.
The one where at first everybody runs in place and then 2 seconds later they're like, wait, why am I not on my knees banging these foot spots with my hands?
Exactly.
That one? Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
That one. He had that. And you know what that means. He was like the kid that got everything, right?
Yeah. Well, if you have that or the USS Flag, that's what that means.
USS Flag. What is? Oh, you're talking about for G.I. Joe?
Yeah, it's a G.I. Joe aircraft carrier. It's the gold standard of your dad buys you everything toys for 1980s kids.
So we didn't have, when I was growing up, I had one He-Man action figure that I got in like my parents' work, whatever.
Was it Ram Man?
No, it was actually He-Man. And he
okay.
Well, I don't get the joke.
You don't remember Ram Man?
No.
He's the one that you could compress down, and then he would just spear people with the top of his head.
Oh,
like
the hammer-looking head, dude?
Yes.
Yes, okay.
Just murdering his spine. Yeah, that guy.
That guy. I remember that guy. No, it was He-Man. He would take he would take damage on the chest plate. It was pretty cool. But I just remember not having many toys growing up. It's not because my parents didn't love me, and it's not because we were hurting for, money, because they worked really hard to provide for the family. It's just that they didn't think I needed that. And I thought I had a pretty cool childhood, I learned how to do a lot of neat skills.
Yep.
And so, anyway, if the kids came out there and interacted with your kids, would it be weird if they had that, even if we put them away as soon as we got in Wyoming and we just used it for the flight over?
No, I feel like I should probably be asking you that question, because pretty much all the kids my kids hang out with have some sort of video game access. All the parents police it. I don't want to wreck your kids by my kids wanting to show them stuff on Minecraft.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we don't allow our kids to play Minecraft.
Because of the satanic overtones?
No, not at all. It's just because I've observed other kids that play it and they are really, really into it big time. And I've worried about it. And I'm not saying there's any difference between the two. That's just been the policy of the Sandlin family thus far. And I'm thinking about changing that policy.
When you guys come out, the stuff that I hope we have a chance to do involves wilderness and mountains and animals. We live basically next door to a zoo, except the zoo is just a giant state-sized wilderness area with all kinds of big, cool animals in it. And you can actually see them. And the other thing that's really cool is you can get into pristine water, crystal clear water, and your first day out, you can start catching fish on a fly rod.
Well, let's just go fishing.
It's really fun. It's such a different feel than a conventional rod and reel. And you put that in a kid's hand and they hook into a nice trout for the first time. And there's just so much play. The rod doubles over. They just light up. I'm really hoping we can get a fish for all of them.
Yeah. I think that should be the goal.
A Switch. Yeah. So I don't know. Like if I'm in your spot, I think the Switch would be really cool. My kids have stuff they're interested in. They don't even know. It's not even on their radar. So I'm not thinking about that right now. But I don't know, you're good parents. You can direct your kids not just in how much they play or don't play, but you can shape your kids in terms of where their mind goes when they have time to think. And I think that's what matters.
I think that's the goal. We want them to just understand the game is just that, a game.
Yeah. You want to have good kids who turn out to be good adults and are decent to people and have priorities that are in order. And too much anything will screw that up.
At the same time, it was really fun bonding with people over games. That was fun.
I have so many memories like that of stuff that just involves, war stories that we have in the history of our friendships over stupid video games.
Yeah. Cool.
If there's other people involved, I like it better.
I think we're going to do it.
All right, fun.
Yep.
Well, you probably will sell me on one then.
Yeah, dude, you could get him and we could all like, when the kids go to bed, we could all get one and we could play Mario Kart together.
Okay, I'm sold.
we should totally
I'm
do
not,
that. By the
I'm
way,
not
when
in
we were
any way
playing,
worried about the state of my soul. Sign me up.
here's the deal. We were playing and I was in last place on the Rainbow Road, one of the Rainbow Road levels, and I accidentally ran off the course. But because it's a 3-dimensional course, I landed back on the course somewhere else and it was immediately in first place.
What?
And Dan was like, "What was that?" I was like, I don't know. I'm in first place. How did you do that? I was like, well, I jumped the course. Replay that. And they played the replay and they figured out where it happened. And now we know the secret. It's pretty cool.
I had no idea that was a thing. I mean, believe me, I've driven on that Rainbow Road a lot, but I just drift off into oblivion whenever I fall off things.
It was pretty cool.
Noted. Okay, I think the motto of your YouTube channel is something like, be a thinker and a doer. Am I close?
Pretty close. Yeah, that's in there and stuff.
Help me get it right. How do you actually say it?
I say in a world of talkers, be a thinker and a doer. It was a character described in a book one time. I thought it was cool.
It is cool. I like it. You and I both like to do stuff. We both like to make stuff. We both like to build stuff. But in the course of time knowing you, I've figured out that you, like me, have limitations on that. And so my question for you is, what do you do when you need something that's like a 1-hour job around your house done that you absolutely don't know how to do? It's
funny you should ask, Matt, because I've been trying to find a website to help me figure this sort of thing out.
Yeah. What? It's like you see all the way into my soul.
No, it's pretty cool.
Over the internet.
It's really cool. We have a new sponsor, and it's a sponsor that I've never heard sponsor anybody else, which I haven't either. I think that's rad.
Yep, I'm just taking that as flattery.
It's called Thumbtack. Thumbtack.com. I will let you explain it, Matt.
All it does is connects people who want to get an odd job or a contractor job done around the house with people who can do it in your area. And it is unbelievably specific. The interface is really smart. And so you pick like down to the most minute little details of what a project might be. And then it asks more and more specific questions. And you just fill the thing out and you've got a pretty clear picture of what kind of work you're looking for by the time you're done, even if you don't speak contractor language. And then it connects you with bids from contractors. And for me, the gap between when I finished filling out my request and when I got my first bid was like 1 minute.
That's insane. And it was an actual human.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I live in a tiny little small town and I can verify that is an actual human who lives here.
That's rad. I've entered 2 jobs so far. One of them's a concrete specialist and one of them's a carpenter job. And you just it's pretty cool. You just enter what you want done and you can even attach photos and then people can just bid on it. It's pretty rad.
Yeah. Well, I was sitting there thinking about it and like, okay, there are items I need to buy for my little trout pond in my backyard that you hate and I love. And
you mean the trout pond that doesn't hold water except for finally it
does hold water because I bought the proper products and fixed it because I'm a doer.
Right.
Yeah, no, it does hold water and there's a fish in there and it's awesome. But
congratulations.
But here's the thing, like I got to buy all these little things to make the pond go. And when you need to buy things, you go to a store or to the internet. But where do you go when you need to buy a project? Like there's no one stop for that. And
I go to the Old Lady Gray Hair Network and ask the old ladies if they know anybody, and usually they do.
And Edith and Edna always know someone.
They
know
always
a guy.
know. They always know. Yeah. But the thing is, you're kind of going on their recommendation, and so you don't really know if the dude's good or not because they might just like him because they knew him or whatever.
Yeah, and they might not know what good is. No disrespect to Edith and Edna. Tell me that's not either of your grandmother's names.
No, it's not. It's not.
Okay, because we've been down that road and it was really socially uncomfortable for me.
What's cool about these 2 people that responded to the concrete job, this one guy has a 5-star review and this other one has a 1-star review. So which one do you think I'm going to go for?
Wait, is 5 good?
Yeah, 5's good.
No, then I'd go with that one. That wasn't a patronizing question at all.
No, not at all. Anyway, that's it. That's the ad, right? Thumbtack.com. Go hire people to do stuff, right?
Yeah. Picture a thing you want to happen around your house and then go buy it on the internet. I mean, it feels like house project shopping just appeared on the internet.
Okay, I'm going to just randomly, okay, let's say personal trainer. Yeah, boom. They do that. Personal chef? What?
Seriously?
You can have a personal chef.
Wow.
Imagine something. Imagine a job a human does. I'm going to say
Masseuse.
like massage therapy. Dog massage, Matt. Pet massage?
I'm not getting my dog a massage.
You can go to thumbtack.com and get your dog massaged.
I'm not getting my dog a massage. You've pushed it too far. We were having fun and then it got weird.
Oh, man.
That shouldn't be a thing.
Just in the ad on the dog massage. This is great. Just say something. Thumbtack.com dog massage. Say it. Go for it.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm not promoting the dog massage part of this.
Okay,
I
what's
like the product. I can't go there. You're asking something from me that just I can't cooperate with.
Okay,
Let me
okay.
think
You
of
have a
something
fish
else
pond.
weird.
Fish pond, interior fishing trip guides, pony riding, fishing trip guides.
What
You
does it
probably
have-
need that.
It has like fishing. You're kidding me. How about a rafting guide?
Aquarium services, rafting guide. Oh my
Party
gosh!
bus rental.
There's a sump pump repair or maintenance.
I needed that 3 months ago.
That's why I said that. Wow.
Oh, that's right. You bought me a sump pump.
I did.
While I was in Denver and couldn't deal with my flooding house. Thanks for the sump pump, by the way, man.
You're welcome, dude. You needed it. That's cool.
I use it to pump
I could have
things.
just gone to thumbtack.com and typed in my buddy Matt needs a sump pump because he's in Denver and I could have solved it.
all of my friends' flooding problems.
Thumbtack.com.
I'm genuinely excited about this, and it's already causing me to think creatively about stuff that I wasn't going to get to this summer that maybe now I will. Okay, this is the home stretch part of the show where we just bring people up to speed on a few things, sort of pull up the third chair. But one thing that you did this week that I thought was awesome that I did not tell you I was going to tell people about, but I'm going to anyway, is the video you put out on rolling shutter. It's really, really good, man. Congrats on a great video.
Thank you, dude. I really appreciate that. I worked on that for a really, really long time. And it was like, you know how you do these certain videos that you're excited about yourself and you just really want it to be good? That was this.
Well, I mean, we both want every video we make to be the best thing about that on the internet, but sometimes that's just not realistic because other people make great stuff. But sometimes you find this sort of unexplored territory where you have a creative idea to explain it in a way that it hasn't been done. And that's what you nailed here. I mean, your footage is great with the high-speed camera of what's actually happening with fast-moving stuff, and then comparing that with the rolling shutter of your phone camera. That's excellent. But how you convey it is really cool. And if anybody hasn't seen it yet, what is the video called?
It's called Why Does Your Phone Do This? Or something like. No, Why Does Your Camera Do This? I don't know. Unfortunately, it was a clickbaity title, admittedly.
Whatever. The video speaks for itself. It's good. But what's cool is that Henry from Minute Physics, who we had on the show talking vegetarianism a few episodes back,
Yep.
helped you think of a creative way to side by side an actual high-speed image with the weird warped rolling shutter image. And it's genius. I feel like I understood this rolling shutter phenomenon pretty well before I watched the video. And this is the best explanation I could imagine. It's just tip of the hat, man. Great job.
I really appreciate it. Yeah, Henry came up with this After Effects. I don't know if you call it a template, or it's not a script. It'd be a template in order to use a grayscale. I don't know. It's unreal how he did it. I put a video on the second channel just basically interviewing him about how he did it. But a couple of the ideas in it came from the guy that helps me animate. He doesn't like his name being used, but I'll just call him MH. And so he did some really clever stuff. And we went back and forth. And, some of his ideas I vetoed and a lot of his ideas I kept. And I gave him some suggestions and stuff. But we really worked hard on that. And we were really, really excited about the way it ended up. So
Is it Merle Haggard?
It's Merle Haggard. I man.
I knew it was him or Marvin Harrison.
You were so smart.
50. Well, no, go on. So also, you mentioned earlier that this episode is sponsored by 23andMe.
Yep.
And we've been working with them. And speaking of your videos, you have another video coming up. Then this one is going to be like all about how they do that.
I went to the lab, dude. And
they let you in?
Like nobody gets to go to the lab. And so we've been talking to them for a long time, and they, were able to work certain things out. They have special issues they have to address where I was actually able to go to the lab. And I got to see the process. I got to ask questions of people on the floor without like some kind of marketing person like hovering over me saying, you can't say that. I actually just got to straight up talk to people.
And before you go and ruin it, like there was one thing that was my first question when we first started talking 23andMe and I started getting to know what they do.
Yeah.
And you got to get the really inside scoop on some of that stuff. And I'm trying to be vague about it so people can see it on the video.
Yeah. Yeah. It was cool.
Excellent.
Let's put it this way. I was like, I don't know if it's okay to do this. And then I went and saw this and I was like, oh, heck yeah. I'm going to get a kit for my parents. And it changed the way I think about it. And so I was really happy with it.
And so if somebody wants to go and get the 23andMe thing, they do that by going to
23andme.com/no dumb questions.
Can we open my results at some point, by the way?
I think we do.
At this point, I still just consider myself white, and I'd like to hyphenate that, and I can't do that until I open the test, which continues to sit in my email because of our laziness.
No, it's not our laziness. I mean, we're just really excited about it, and I happened to go to the lab, so we talked about the lab this time around. We will open your results and find out what makes you weepy at children's movies. They can actually tell you that.
It's not in there.
It's not in there.
I just want to know who I am. Yeah. Okay, so we got the 23andMe thing. We also have
Thumbtack.com, which is really awesome because they chose to sponsor us before anybody else that I'm aware of. I'm excited about that.
They're going to help me get lots of projects done this summer, and I will look like a harder worker than I actually am.
That's awesome.
We have a new book that we're going to be talking about. We announced that last episode, Devil in the White City by Eric Larson, that people can go to audible.com and pick up. Audible.com/no dumb questions. I don't think Audible is technically sponsoring this episode, but we still want you to get a free book. So Devil in the White City, give it a listen. We have a discussion coming up on that. Are you listening to it yet?
Yeah, I'm 6 hours from being done with it. And it is completely different from Ready Player One. And it stimulates my brain in a completely different way. But I really like it. And it makes me think about landscape architecture in a way that I never have before. Which sounds kind of boring, but it's not at all.
No. It makes you care about things you shouldn't care about.
Yeah.
And again, we can't unwrap this present yet because we're gonna do this. But I will say only this: when I started reading that book for the first time, and I've been through it a couple times now, I only cared about the part that talked about one thing, and the other part was fine. And as the book went along, it started to flip, and I started to become really excited about the thing I wasn't as interested in the beginning, and then they converged into mutual super interest. So
okay, cool.
I respect this.
Say no
author.
more because I want to talk a lot right now. So just move on. Because
all right.
Devil in the White City, Eric Larson.
Excellent. All right, last thing. We are sponsored by a bunch of individuals through patreon.com. And I feel like we can't really say thank you enough to the people who do that. So I try to bring it up in every episode. So this is the part where we say thank you. And we've also had a really good conversation just in the private Patreon group going on over there. It's fun because we get some of the questions that inform the show from our patrons. And so this is the giant thank you moment.
Yeah. And we mean it. It's really cool. I'm actually in direct contact with a lot of those people on Snapchat. So we have mini Snap story conversation kind of things. It's kind of fun.
I'm getting to the same place. And it's also been fun because there's a couple people who are just in my life who I never would have imagined listen to the podcast, let alone our patrons. They come up and they're like, hey, guess what? I signed up for this thing. And I'm like, wow, that's kind of weird / awesome. Now I kind of don't know what to do like with my hands when I talk to you.
It's exactly right.
You sponsor me to do a podcast. So thanks, man.
By the way, I still have these $50. Can we give those $50 out to patrons of a certain level? Can we do that?
We need to do that. Yeah. Yeah. We have people who can help us make that happen.
Yeah. We talked, are we going to do a certificate? Or are we going to do the little...
Oh, boy. I'm trying to remember whose job it was to do the certificate. I'm going to say it on the count of 3 and you say it at the same time. Yeah. 1, 2, 3. It was my job. Matt's. I'm terrible at everything and I'm really embarrassed. I'm sorry.
So here's one thing I like about the $50, having not talked about this with you, but I think we're probably both on the same page. The thing I love about the 50-cent piece is one of the things we like to do on this podcast is talk about, how you can come together with people of an opposing view.
Yeah.
And I love that there's a heads and a tails, and that 50 Cent piece, in my brain at least, is kind of like a metaphor for the ability to communicate with people that you disagree with. I don't know.
It's a metaphor for the whole thesis of the show. And thesis is way too fancy a word. I mean, for crying out loud, we're talking about farts on airplanes today and what color your pee is. I mean, let's not get too fancy on ourselves here.
That's true.
But one of the things one of the reasons I like hanging out with you is that I feel like we want to get to the same place in the conversation, not just with each other as friends, but with a lot of the people we interact with. We don't need to think all the same stuff to like each other and be productive and make the world better together.
I agree. So we can use the coins? We can give the coins to people on Patreon?
Yeah. If whoever, I don't remember who it was, but if whoever is in charge of getting that certificate done, we just get it done. Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll put a level up. How about we put a level up on Patreon? And if you'll have to enter your address, your physical address, to have that sent to you. But I think it's worth it.
Yeah, I think so too. Fun.
Sweet.
All right, cool. Well, I think that's the whole shebang.
I think so too. We're on Twitter at No Dumb Qs. We're on other stuff too. Personally, at Smarter Everyday, at Matt Whitman TMBH. Check us out. Hit us up on Twitter, and I'd like to communicate with people on there. What about you?
Yeah, absolutely. I have fun with that.
Do you think people can actually make you cry on Twitter?
No, I don't, because I think I've built this incredibly thick callus around my heart.
What if people start sending you like videos and GIFs of little girls running fast?
Please don't do that, folks. I have to be productive and get work done, and that's a powerful thing. That's so weird when you say it. Like when I say it, it sounds right. When you say it, it sounds creepy and weird. I want videos of your kids running, folks. Like, please. No,
please send them to Matt. That'd be great. I would love that. CC me just so I can.
You're making everything worse. We were almost done on a good note.
This was fun, dude.
I hope you cry again this week. Do the same, buddy. Later.
Later, buddy.